What's going on, everybody on YouTube? Steve here, Raiken Profit. Welcome to another Green Room show. And today it's just the boys from the Green Room. We're going to be talking about 9 strategies to scaling your reselling business. So we're going to be talking about 9 things that you're going to want to be doing to make more sales, to make more profit, and to grow your business. My name's Steve Raiken. I am 30 years old from Connecticut, sell on eBay, Amazon, Shopify, Craigslist, all different types of places. Been reselling, making money online for about 5 years, and I am pumped up for this show. What's going on, Eric? How are you, man?
I'm doing well. My name is Eric, also known as the College Picker. The only reason I'm here today is that I got invited specifically, personally, by Steve the other day. He said, I want you on the show. He sent me a DM. He was all up in my DMs. Otherwise, I would just be the blue wrench in the chat. But I'm here today. I sell on Etsy, eBay, Amazon. I actually sold my first Facebook Marketplace item yesterday.
Oh, wow.
I do daily vlogs, reselling oriented, also include my family. And then also I get dirty with my van sometimes. So it varies. The youngest pup here at 29 years old. And I'm an admin of the Green Room. I am a pharmacist by schooling, but I am right now just selling on eBay and Amazon and stuff. So,
very nice. What's going on, Mr. Chris? You getting dirty with your van or?
No, I don't have a van, but my name is Chris. I'm also known as the Bonafide Hustler here on YouTube, and I buy and resell things on a part-time basis that I find from garage sales, estate sales, flea markets, pawn shops, swap meets. I put it on Amazon, eBay. Amazon, eBay, my Craigslist, my antique booth. I'm not even thinking right now. And a consignment store in town. And plus, I win today automatically because I got a special glove on.
Ooh, what is that?
Eric, do you even think that he knows what this is?
I know what it is.
Yeah, well,
I sold one of those within the last 2 months.
Oh, did you really? Yeah, man. So like the power glove in full effect, man, sitting right here. Anyway, yeah, let's get on with the show, Steve.
Yeah, so I'm looking in the comment section right now, and I see some people. I want to make sure to shout them out. If you're excited for the show, do us a big favor and smash that like button. Be sure to jump in the comments. I'm actually looking over at my other screen right now. I want to say hello to some people. We've got Susan Redmond in the house. What's going on, Susan? Good to see you. She's excited to see Eric. We got Catherine Domer, Mike Raleigh, Captain Cellulite, quite the interesting name. We have TY Hipstar, 27 Zach, Anna Wellman, Educational Action, Maria K. Korn, Eric. What's going on, everybody? Good to see you. So, yeah, if you guys have any questions during this show, feel free to drop a line in the comment section. We're going to have Eric and Chris also looking in there. But let's talk about some strategies for scaling your reselling business. This is going to apply to Craigslist, eBay, Amazon, really any platform that you're on where you're buying items and you're putting it on a platform to resell it. So let's get into the first one. The first strategy is making sure you're selling the right items, because I can tell you right now, when I first got started, on eBay, I was selling clothing, but I was selling clothing items that weren't really selling for much money. And I was putting in all this time and all this effort. And at the end of the day, you know, I was putting in all this work and things were selling, but I wasn't making enough money. So you've got to make sure you're climbing up the right ladder. Eric, why don't we talk about this? What are your thoughts when you think about, you know, scaling your business and choosing the right products? Like, how important is it to find the right items to resell?
Way back in the pre-smartphone era, I was actually buying things that I thought were valuable, and they weren't really as valuable as I thought they were, because I didn't have the ability to like research the right products or look it up on the spot. So I did actually go through a lot of learning process of like having to purge. Okay, this was crap. This doesn't sell. This doesn't sell. And experience is definitely going to allow you to figure out what is the right product to sell, because you've sold it before, or you've heard somebody else talk about selling it, or your friend sold it and told you about it, or you just studied the completed listings yourself. And the more years you resell like that, just kind of, I was talking about this yesterday, actually, just like jams into your head. And that knowledge will just come with experience. But you kind of can, with your smartphone, you can kind of head start in like immersing yourself into a free or a paid Facebook group and doing the correct research on the completed, not just the completeds, but the completeds that have actually sold and recently and for good profit margins, and then comparing that to what your like entry points are at the thrift stores.
Chris, how do you find the right items? Can you think back to when you had first started reselling? And I know you were flipping some bikes and you were finding some items, but for the people out there who are watching and maybe they're only, selling a couple $100s a month, they want to scale up to 1,000, 2,000. How do they start to learn what items to start messing with? Because there's so many out there. There's hundreds, thousands.
Right. I think the most important thing, and everyone says it, is to, start with things that you know the most about. Everybody's going to know something about, everyone's going to know a lot about something. Like I started out knowing a lot about bikes and lake-related goods and RC cars and trucks. Back in the day, like, 10, 12 years ago when I started my hustling journey, like it wasn't uncommon for me, like in the evening time, to be on a bike or riding through some trails. And when the weekends came around, I was at the park flying, RC planes and jets. And I was, when I wasn't up in the air flying things, I was down on the ground, like controlling cars and jumping them on ramps and going to things like RC car meets and stuff. So that naturally, like, was one of the things that I really enjoyed. And so when you start your hustling journey, it's really important to at least delve hard into the stuff that you really love, and then try to go out into the field and find some of that stuff. Everyone loves something. Like Steve Raiken liked softball type stuff. He knows a lot about softball type stuff. He knew a lot about just random things that he enjoyed messing with. College Picker was a video game kind of guy. He liked ping pong stuff. He likes tennis rackets. He likes all kinds of things that he was doing, back in his college days and high school days. And then you just take that and you expand your knowledge by doing some real brief product research when you're bored, in the evening, at home, at night, whatever. But you take a look at the markets. That's the most important thing, is to look at the market, because you could have 1,000 items in your eBay store, but if those 1,000 items have no markets, it doesn't matter. I mean, all you're doing is paying the eBay fees, and hoping that your stuff will sell. I would much rather get into, I would much rather have a smaller eBay store with very marketable type stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Scott Burrows is in the comments right now. Good to see you, Scott, is saying eBay is the best place for knowledge. The amount of market research that can be done in a short space of time is second to none. And I agree. I still remember when I was starting my clothing business, 4 years ago, I didn't know much. I would spend 30, 45, 60 minutes a day going through the sold listings, right? Like, go into the clothing section, choose what gender you want to study, go into the men's jeans and just study jeans for a half hour, study dress shirts, go into the RC section, start studying the different brands. Somebody was asking what RC stands for, Chris, in the comments.
Radio controller, remote control is what most people would refer to it. Yeah. So
I agree. Yeah, eBay is definitely a great place to do your research. So that's really, really important. That's step one. Make sure you're selling the right items, because you can scale in a sense of, listing more and having more manpower, getting more items up, sourcing more. But if you're climbing up the wrong ladder, then you're going to be in trouble. Tip number 2, the second strategy to scaling a reselling business, is creating more sourcing opportunities. And I want to pass this off to Chris really quick, because I remember when I had probably the first and second time that I visited him in Austin, Texas, I noticed he was going to this location where he would walk in the door and he would negotiate these deals at this place. And it was so foreign to me and I couldn't believe it. And, years later, I ended up diving into it and I even wrote a book about it because it was so awesome. What am I talking about, Chris? What is this sourcing opportunity that opened up my world because I was able to learn from you?
Probably referring to pawn shops.
Yep.
And there's other stuff that we did together back in the day, but pawn shops are definitely one of those things that I probably cracked into about 8 years ago. And it was just because I was looking for more places to get bicycles, honestly. Like I had exhausted Craigslist, I had exhausted, trying to find them through garage sales, which I was finding them, but I wanted more and more. And so I was naturally thinking, like, where can I find them outside of going into a full-blown bike shop that has a used bike section, which that's not going to be the greatest deal on earth. So I thought, maybe pawn shops. And most people thought, pawn shops are icky and they're a place where, stolen goods go to. Well, yeah, I mean, they're both, but they're also a place you can make a lot of money. I mean, and And I found a lot of bikes in those kind of places. And me and my girlfriend at the time, who is my wife now, we would go into those things no problem. And she understood, what we were there to do. We were there to make money and to get educated on random things. But for the most part, we were just walking in, looking at bikes that were usually outside. And if you walk in, sometimes the expensive bikes are behind the counter or on the side of the store somewhere inside. And that's what we would do. But we were creating more sourcing opportunities because we'd already exhausted the primary ones out. But there's always a way that you can take it that much further. I was really, back in the day, I was always going to like REI garage sales to find outdoor footwear. I was going even one step further. I was getting on email lists for, people that I knew were doing sample sales and stuff. And when Raiken was in town, like one time we went to a sample sale that was downtown.
That was crazy.
And we walked in and there were like brand new like sample Solomon shoes and Merrell shoes and all this stuff, all this amazing gear. Like a shoe was 10 or 15 bucks. A Gore-Tex boot was 25, brand new, and those are, the unbelievable opportunities. And I was one of, maybe only 3 resellers that were there at that given time when it opened. But I was just on an email list, I made some connections, and you have to think outside of the box. So yeah, creating more sourcing opportunities is absolutely the way to go, especially, how do I say it, Eric, like when you're dealing with video games, there's so many opportunities to get video games, right? I wouldn't say there's an infinite, but there are a lot of ways to get them, right?
There's different ways to get video games, but video games are one of the more competitive.
Yeah, they're competitive, but there are a lot of ways to get them, right?
Yeah, it is one of like the hyper competitive things that usually is sold out at garage sales, or even now sold out immediately if you're trying to get a Super NES Mini for yourself or to flip. That's like so competitive. You got to sleep outside.
Yeah.
Start breaking into new sourcing locations and opportunities. If you're new to reselling, I suggest getting acquainted with maybe 1 or 2 methods. Get started with garage sales and thrift stores, but then start breaking into possibly retail arbitrage, right? Start breaking into pawn shops, start breaking into, sample sales and various locations. You'd be surprised how many locations are out there that are available to make money. I remember when I was in San Jose, I was out with a friend at his antique booth, and he was, putting a bunch of stuff in his antique booth. And while he was doing that, I was walking around scanning books in the antique booth, and I didn't think there was going to be anything there. And I ended up buying like 40 books. It was incredible and made a bunch of money. So keep your eye open for different sourcing opportunities. Don't get stuck in just one, because that could be the cap on your business. You want to open yourself up by experimenting with different things. Even online arbitrage, right? There's softwares out there like OA X-Ray and Tactical Arbitrage that will allow you to be able to use a software to be able to find deals on various websites. So that's really important.
Yeah, I think outside the, like, if I could, I got one.
Yeah. Jump in.
One good point on this one. I've been doing eBay to Amazon arbitrage the last couple weeks. I think I've $500-$600 profit after everything said and done, just from a couple different SKUs that I've been searching. And another thing you can do if you're not into FBA or if you're not into Amazon yet, get into that. And then when you're shopping with your wife or with your kids or whatever, you could go off and do some scanning for inventory for products while your wife does some shopping, and you can meet back up and you're actually like offsetting the cost of the groceries, if that makes any sense. You can kind of think of it like that. But just another opportunity that makes you source smarter.
Sure. Yeah, I definitely find myself. I hear an echo, by the way. But I definitely find myself, especially in the fourth quarter, going more to places with my wife, like Targets and Walmart and stuff. Just because I'm
excited that they go shopping because you get to go.
Yeah, for sure.
So we have a question from Education in Action, and this is probably going to go to Chris. Well, maybe Eric can answer it. What if I buy something to resell and it turns out to be stolen? So he's talking about he or she's talking about the pawn shops. I have a fear of ramifications of that situation. Any way to protect oneself? Any of you boys want to jump in on that?
Most important thing is keep your receipt. Don't be afraid to buy something from a pawn shop.
Yeah.
Just if you're going to pay in cash, get a receipt. If you're going to pay a credit card, get a receipt. Get a receipt. Get a receipt. Get a receipt.
Pawn shops put in a holding period, and they have to like put it into a database for the police to cross check with the police for 30 days or something. And what the rally roots do, because this actually happened to Ryan Roots, his video has like almost 500,000 views because he was talking about it. He almost got arrested. He bought some stolen goods that he didn't know were stolen, and he learned from that where he just gets someone to sign a agreement that I'm sure you could just Google purchasing agreement, and you get their name, their address. You don't want to buy something from somebody that's afraid to show you their driver's license, so you just put down their name, their address from their driver's license, or you take a picture of it or whatever for your own protection and get them to sign it. And that way, if anyone ever comes after you, you have this person's phone number, you have this agreement saying, hey, I bought off of Craigslist.
Yeah. Cool. Why are you keep looking at, is that just me, or is CP looking up all the time when he talks?
Yeah, I keep noticing that.
Oh, the wrong camera. My camera's actually right here. I
didn't want to say anything to like make you feel awkward, but I'm like, is the sun in his eyes, or is he like
better?
Oh yeah, now that's the drone view right there. Okay.
I'm sorry. I must have been like
it wasn't like a little bit of an incline. Like it was like that's epic. That's epic.
Smash the real
CP right now. So let's dive into strategy number 3. So far we talked about number 1, making sure that you're choosing the right products to sell. Number 2 was creating more sourcing opportunities, garage sales, pawn shops, thrift stores, retail stores, sample sales, all different types of things. Number 3, this is obvious, but believe it or not, a lot of people fail to take action on this, is listing more. Eric, how important is it to list more items when scaling your business? Because I mean, you could pick the right items, you can increase your average price per sale, but I mean,
right. If it's not up, it won't sell. And this is probably the number 1 bottleneck in anyone's online, eBay, Amazon, anything business, is the actual listing. And there's not like one answer for everyone. Everyone kind of has to figure out what works for them. Like if it's listening to music while you do it, if it's putting on a show, if it's just complete silence, if it's drinking a coffee and doing it, if you're doing it inside mobilely with your phone, if you're doing it outside with your camera, your DSLR or whatever, like everyone has their own strategy that makes them be able to do it faster for themselves.
Yeah, when you list more, you got to be very careful. You hear this from YouTube all the time: is list more, list more, list more. If you're not listing more, you're not going to make more. You can also get in a really big, you can get into a lot of trouble by listening to what I would just say a majority of YouTubers saying just list more, without the caveat being you have to list more quality items. Like that is really what it comes down to. You have to reference number 1 on this list more than anything. If you're not listing the right items that have markets, it's not going to work out for you. You're gonna end up sitting there in eBay groups going, why is my stuff not selling? And then someone's going to go over your store and they're going to be like, because you're trying to sell like porcelain dolls and you're trying to sell all these little trinkets and stuff that just don't have any, there's just not much market, as opposed to, maybe 5 or 10 iPods that you've been amassing from garage sales versus, things like that, things that actually have markets. Dude, I went to eBay yesterday looking at fingerlings, right? You know what I'm talking about, right? Everyone knows what fingerlings are.
I've heard of them. I don't know.
There were like 6,900 sold combinations of fingerlings, like single ones or combinations of sets or bundles on eBay. So, if you're going to get into something, I'm not saying get into fingerlings, but I was just doing some cross-reference. I was at a Target and I'm trying to make my Amazon strategy early. I'm trying to start figuring things out. But more importantly, markets, that's a deep market. That's a great market. If you look at Guitar Hero or Rock Band in eBay, sold completed, you're going to find a gigantic market. Same with Amazon. But if you look at these little, and we poke fun at it, but like little porcelain trinket, things, and you're going to find a couple here and there, and there's going to be such a wide discrepancy between prices. It's not really worth your time. So yeah, list more, but make sure you're listing the right kind of stuff. Raiken, we could take it back. I could tell you list more, single color, three button polo shirts, and you're going to be like, yeah, right. Like I'd make like 10 a piece on it. You know what I'm saying? Like
it's got to be the right item. It's got to be selling for enough. And on eBay, you can use the sold listings to take into consideration how many are selling, how often are they selling as an auction, buy it now, what prices. And it's even easier on Amazon because there's the sales rank, right? But be careful, the sales rank is going to be different for the various categories. You know what I mean? 10,000 in books is phenomenal, right? It's amazing. It's like it's selling like hotcakes, whereas 10,000 in video games
That's still pretty good though.
It's not though. 10,000 is not that great.
Bad.
It's okay.
It's
not that great though. I'm telling you right now. I don't know. I'm open for opinions.
Okay, let's put that
Eric,
up.
What are your thoughts?
10,000 in video games is
that's mid.
It's not that great, but it's still that's like an NES.
3 months.
That's like it's like an NES, maybe like 2 or 3 months. An NES.
There's a huge. The point I was trying to make is
it's not going to be an instant sale.
No,
there is a huge difference between 10,000 in books and 10,000 in video games. That's really
humongous. Yeah, okay,
that's really the point. I mean, 10,000 in books is like a day, and you know what I mean compared to. But then again, with experience comes the realization that rank is just kind of a number in a sense. It's you can't follow it 100%. You got to look at the reviews, right? You've got to understand the market, because I've had 2 million ranked books selling a day, right? Yeah. So it's one of those things, but there's tools out there to understand the market, Chris, like you were saying.
Yeah, one of the tools is your eyes and your brain. Like, just look at the thing and look at all the prime sellers, and then look into like how. Like, let's take a video game that's like 2,500 rank, great rank, and you find it on a shelf. I found a couple today, like just some random. We'll show it later in the broadcast. I find a video game today. It was like $3. I think it's 2,500 rank. It's going to sell for around, I think, 30 or 40. I buy it for that much, so that's great. And then I open the booklet. There's a disc, you know, and I got an insert. I got the actual booklet. That's great. You know, I'm one step ahead of the scratch disc person. You know what I'm talking about, CP? The bottom listing is always like the disc only, scratch disc person, and then I'm already like, you know, a couple tiers above that. Yeah. So there's a lot of things that you got to do. But yeah, list more, but list smart too. Like, if you got something good, the market also has junky, broken things at the bottom and amazing near new things at the top, or brand new stuff at the top. You shake out somewhere in the middle typically. So don't just undercut yourself by, okay, you know, I saw this price at the bottom and then I must be this price. Like, no, like, think about what you have in your hands and then decode it. You know, they're superficial scratches on your disc. Guess what? That moves you way higher than someone that has a way scratched disc. Like, you're in a different tier and you can command that. So anyway, so yeah, listing more, just be real careful, because you're gonna, we've been guilty of saying it all the time, like list more, but you got to list the right stuff more, basically.
Let's dive into strategy number 4 to scaling a successful reselling business. What I've got is creating a higher quality customer experience and learning how to make more money for your products. With things like photography, creating a good description, making sure your description's accurate, cleaning your items properly. You want to talk about this a little bit, Eric? How important is it with, like, for example, video games, like making sure that you include in the description that the manual's included, taking plenty of pictures? There's so many things that you can fail to do that's going to hurt that customer experience, and it's going to hurt your conversions.
Yeah, for video games especially, there's certain video games that are fake. And those video games, I actually take a video game screwdriver, I open up the cartridge, and I take a picture of the board, because that customer wants to know that is a 100% original Nintendo circuit board, and I'm not selling them a fake. And that takes extra time, but I'm going to get the sale over somebody that doesn't do that. And I have done that with a lot of the Pokemon games, and I think with one of my other Super Nintendo games that I recently sold. I do that for video games. I'm really bad about clothing. My clothing pictures are awful for eBay. I'm a flat layer carpet with decent lighting. And I
don't know why that sounds funny, flat layer. I don't even know.
I'm a flat layer carpet, decent lighter. Etsy, my pictures are a lot better. They still could use improvement, but for my video games, I do clean them and take care of them for my customers, just because I don't want to return, especially on an expensive item. And I don't want to get scammed myself. If I take a picture of the board, there are little like micro indicators of identifications on like the brass parts of the pins where you could say, okay, this wasn't the board that I sent you. Like, you can see certain wear marks.
Hey, Chris, let me ask you, I know you're big into creating quality listings. I know we've had a couple conversations about this on previous Green Room shows, talking about how it's just as important to create a quality listing over like trying to like just speed through it like crazy. What are some things that you do maybe when you're listing on eBay? Because Amazon's a little more plug and play, right? You just kind of scan it in, and you know, you do have to create a description. But what are some things you do to improve the customer experience when they land on your eBay store to, you know, get more money and maybe improve the amount of sales that you get?
I think the most important thing when you're trying to improve your sales on eBay is to not create your own listings as much as possible. But that's if you're, because if you can create your own templates and that's great, but your template should still stem from a previous listing that is very highly ranked or something like that. What I mean by that is check out your, look at when I do most of my eBay listings now, like I don't ever create a listing from start to finish. I'm always echoing off someone else's at the very top that has very keyword rich headlines, and that's what it's called sell similar. Like that's just we should all know that by now. But that's really important to do that. If you don't find many things in the marketplace when you're picking up an item at a thrift store, you shouldn't be picking it up. But let's suppose you find inefficiencies in the marketplace. You can actually rise above and command much higher prices for your products because you realize like someone put the wrong keywords and still got great money out of the product, but they failed to put the color down. They failed to put maybe vintage. They failed to put the product code. There's a lot of things that they might have failed doing, and then maybe maybe the pictures are terrible, and you're sitting there holding a really nice version of this product in your hand, and you go, man, if I just take less than 1 minute to optimize the keywords, take out the irrelevant ones and then put really good ones in, like you should theoretically be able to rise above even the top listing. So yeah, I think that's really important. I'm also a flat layer kind of person like Eric. I don't have a mannequin or anything like that. If I have any kind of like jackets or outerwear, I'll put it right on. Yeah, but I'll hit it from a lot of angles with lights. So like, it doesn't matter if it's flat, as long as your background is consistent. It's not a background full of like, like back in the day when you got your Halloween candy, you just throw it on the floor. You know what I'm talking about? And count it all and sort it all. You don't want that
in the pillowcase.
Yeah, you don't want any of that stuff. Like you want it to be a very, like if it's concrete, use concrete. Wood, great too. Tile.
Usually it's just carpet in my pictures, but sometimes there's a toe.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. But yeah, just make sure that you keep a really non-distracting background, hit it hard with light. And if you don't have enough light, there's a magical wand thing that you can do in the eBay app where you can magic wand your item and it will bring more light to it. You can also adjust the light any way you want to. You can crop your things if you want to. But that's just if you didn't do it right the first time. Wait.
There's a wand on the app.
I don't know about the app because I do all my stuff on the laptop, but
okay, I don't think there's a wand on the app, and if there is, it must only be for iPhones because there's not one. I listed something today, there was no wand.
Yeah, the wand helps you out. It just brings a lot of vibrance to your picture, but if you're doing the right kind of things and you're hitting it with a lot of light, a lot of times I never use the wand, but every now and then I have to. Keyword rich, that's probably the most important thing. Like keyword rich is everything with eBay.
Let's use that right now to catapult ourselves into strategy number 5, which is keyword research. I heard Chris stressing on that. Let's talk a little bit about how to do keyword research because I want to explain why keyword research is important. When somebody is shopping on eBay, there's certain keywords that people are going to be typing in, and if they're typing in that keyword and you're ranked at the top of the page, there's a good chance that you're going to get that sale, or at least you're going to get the opportunity. So you want to make sure you use the right keywords. But how do you do that? How do you find the right keywords to put in your listing? I'll tell you what I do. One strategy that I use, and it's like the lazy man strategy, and I'm proud of it because I like it and it works well. I just go to the sold listings under whatever I'm looking for. So maybe it's a specific Tommy Bahama embroidered shirt with a certain certain design on it. I'll find 5 or 6 that have sold recently, and I'll sell I'll sell a similar one, and I'll essentially just pluck out those keywords. You do want to make sure that there's at least a couple, because sometimes one will sell really well and they've got the wrong keywords in because they don't understand like the design. It's not even embroidered, but they have the word embroidered in it just because they messed up before. So you got to be careful. But that's my one strategy, is just selling somebody else's. You're not starting your listing from scratch. And when you sell someone else's, sell similar, it actually just pulls their entire title and then you just adjust it. What about you, Chris? What do you do for finding keywords?
I do the exact same thing that you do, except by now, like Eric said, like experience really pays off now. At this point, being surrounded by you guys, being surrounded by, almost 900 green room members at this point, like you start getting really good at what you do. I was already good before, like I'm just that much better because of, everyone else that I've come into contact with. So, But yeah, the sell similar is just absolutely the most basic thing that you should be messing with. Steal someone's great keywords. That's great. It's not even stealing. I mean, if it was stealing, like, why would the button be there, right? It's there so you can sell something similar. However, if you are going too fast, it's very common to miss a keyword. Like it could say BNIB, like brand new in box, and you should be like Xing that out if you have a used product in your hands. You need to be, if the drag down menus are showing medium or extra tall or regular, like you have to make sure that you file down these things to what you have in your hands, and then optimize it if you can. Like if someone puts like navy sweater, blue, seaman, submarine type, whatever, and they're missing cable knit when it's clearly a cable knit sweater, then that's a huge opportunity right there, because as it gets colder, people are going to be looking for cable knit sweaters. Like sometimes that's the only thing that they know to look for is like, I want a really nice cable knit sweater. Like maybe they saw it on something on Netflix and they're like, that's a good look. Like I want a cable knit sweater now, and the person that has the most rich keywords is going to win. At least you get a chance to have the buyer's eyes on your listing. And that's the most important thing, because once the buyer's eyes are on your listing, I guarantee you they're looking left to right, up and down. They're looking at some good pictures. And if you can describe this thing, there's no moth holes and no cigarette burn marks in there, you're probably going to get the sale, especially if you have other metrics like, or best offer, maybe free shipping or fast shipping, like one-day handling. If you get a lot of things in line, you can really, really capture the customer's attention.
Absolutely. Number 6 is the 6th strategy for scaling your business, making more sales, making more money. And this is really, really important. And I'm going to let Eric touch on this, is choosing the correct platform to sell your items, plus experimenting with other avenues such as local selling, Amazon, flea markets, and antique booths. How important is it to make sure that the products that you're selling are going to the right platform? And the reason why I'm choosing you to answer this is because I know you sell on a platform that not a lot of sellers sell on in comparison to eBay and Amazon and Craigslist.
Etsy's getting traction, man.
I'm telling you, man, talk to people about why.
My account's going to be like one of the older accounts and get grandfathered in, and my search is going to be optimized and everything's going to be great. But anyways, I'm going to actually tell a little story to help with this correct platform things.
Well, do it. Wait, you have to start your story the right way, though. How does a story?
Once upon a time, there was a boy who bought a lot of Keurigs, but he used to sell them on Amazon, and he used to make a lot of money. Here and there, he would get a return, and then he eventually got restricted, so he can't sell them on Amazon anymore.
Okay.
And then I found a really good deal for $1. I had to buy it, and then I didn't want to put it on eBay, so I tried Facebook Marketplace. It sold in a day for $50, no shipping. Like, it's done, and it makes perfect sense because the people on Facebook Marketplace are like people with houses and want Keurigs and coffee makers and like moms, and it's like the person that would buy a Keurig at a Bed Bath & Beyond, I think, are on the Facebook Marketplace trying to get a deal, and it sold in a day, $50 done.
What was it? A K40? What was it?
It was a Keurig 2.0 K400. It was the newer one. It had a nice like 2.5-inch touchscreen on it. It was good.
Wow. You found that for how much?
$1 plus tax, $1.07.
Woo. Who sells that thing for $1?
It was at the bins. It was in my vlog. It was in my vlog that I released today. So check out.
How is that thing intact in a bin for $1? Like,
dude, it was in a box. It was in a box.
Oh shoot! Even crazier. Like, how is it in a box in a bin? Oh my god.
The bins. The Goodwill Weigh and Pay. It was in the vlog. Check out the vlog.
I will.
Chris, talk to people about why you choose to sell in an antique booth, because why don't you take the items that you find from garage sales and why don't you put them on eBay or Amazon versus the antique booth? Because this is all going back to choosing the correct platform. Talk about the importance of why certain products they belong on certain platforms versus others.
Right. I want to begin this with saying there's at least 10 to maybe 15 items that are in my eBay store that are actually in my antique booth as well, right? So there's nothing saying that you can't cross-list something. And in fact, if you're not messing with cross-listing these days or just putting it on multiple platforms, you're missing out. So we'll start with that. But why the antique booth? Very important. The antique booth is more like a local FBA. It's actually like a local storage facility for me, except this storage facility has people that go in and out of it all day, right? So yeah, you can store stuff. That's what I look at the antique booth as. Like, I'm not really wrapped up into anything for a terrible amount of money. Like, most I'm into anything in that booth probably like $5, maybe $10. But most of the stuff's like $1 or $2, and it's run by other people, another team of the antique mall, and I don't have to be there. Now, I know that's not how antique malls all run in the USA. Some of them you have to be there sometimes, like one day out of the week or something. But mine's an unmanned booth, so I basically structure it out. I put the pegboard where I want it and all that kind of stuff. But over time, and I've had this booth for probably like 5 years now, but over time, you amass inventory, and the inventory you stack it in certain ways, make it look cool, and you give it a good customer experience kind of feel. And yeah, things sell behind the scenes. In fact, after this show, I'm going to be checking my antique booth sheet to see what's sold today. So
Nice.
yeah, it's a lot of fun. And just like FBA or eBay, you can put things on sale. You can put select things on sale. You can do whatever you want, dress the booth up any way you want to, which is really fun. But the best part about the antique booth is if I leave for vacation, I don't have to like worry about like eBay. I have to shut it down, right? For the most part, I don't do the vacation mode thing or anything. But the antique booth just keeps going. My FBA keeps going. So it's a lot of fun, and that's one of those ways that you can create more, I guess, not sourcing opportunities, but more selling opportunities for yourself, is to start looking into other things. Because for me, I still like messing with old things, and I like going to garage sales and not turning my back on like a really big old chest that's like $5 or $10. But most people would be like, I don't want to put that in my car. It's too big. I don't want to waste my whole day with a chest in my car. I'm thinking I could probably sell that chest for like, $100 to $200. I won't even make it home. I'll just drop it off at the booth and I'll go home and I'll feel great. It's already out of my way. It's not in my garage. It's nowhere. So it's in my booth, my storage facility. So it's a lot of fun. I don't think it's something that everyone should get into. But if you're going to get into it, I think it's you should read up on it, watch some of my videos. And we are going to drop the Booths to Bucks guide very, very soon. I actually sent it off to Eric today. So it's going to drop this month. Yeah. It's going to drop this month in the green room. It's a free guide. Have fun with it. It's like, 20 pages long or something like that. It's all about the booth and setup process and all that kind of stuff.
Very nice. Hey, I want to take a moment to thank Margaret. We got Texas Gal Treasures in the house with a $5 super chat. Always very nice. Appreciative when people give back to help support the channel. So I appreciate it, Margaret. And if you're looking for some good reselling content, go check out Texas Gal Treasure. She's been killing it. Have you been seeing her thumbnails lately? I'm telling you, all that merch, graphic design, Photoshop education has been paying off big time. So keep up the good work, Margaret. Number 7, I kind of switched things up last second on the outline because this is really important. I actually had an interview today with John Cleater for actually my new YouTube show that's coming. And one thing I realized about Jonathan Cleater, he's a Green Room member. He did like over $1 million last year on Amazon. And a lot of these guys in the green room and people I've met who are successful, they have this one thing in common that allows them to scale and succeed at levels that are higher than most people. It's the ability to network. They're always networking with people. And when you network with people, like especially in real life, like going to events and hanging out with people and becoming friends with them, you get to learn. Someone is like breathing so loud. It's like the creepiest.
Not me. No way.
That's Chris's freaking.
It's always
not
Chris's
me.
creepy little Darth Vader breath. But
it's that high quality mic.
When you network with people in real life, you get the secrets, you get the inside scoop, and you get they pull it back and they show you it. It's the truth. So start networking, going to events, masterminding with people. It's so amazing. Like, talk about that, Eric. I mean, how important is it to like network with people?
It's actually one of my weaknesses, but it is very important. And
wrong answer, Eric.
It's one of my weaknesses, but it's important.
Just kidding.
And Cleater's only been doing Amazon for like less than 2 years.
I know, it's only 2.
Well, case in point, I don't think it's one of your weaknesses. Like, networking is as simple as like, hey man, you want to come hang out, which is essentially how you and I met. I was like, hey, you want to come out, hang out in Austin? And we rode mountain bikes.
People call it networking. I don't like that word. I like genuine friendships.
Okay, so let's call it genuine friendship. But that's what the green room's always been,
Organic what?
Yeah, that's Sorry, go ahead.
I thought Steve called it something else funny.
Organic connections.
Yeah,
organic connections.
But yeah, that's one of those things. Like, I think people that are sitting there like, all right, like I've heard this advice a million times. I'm an introvert. I don't have any money. I can't go to any of these like big star meetups or anything like that. Go to some local ones, right? But still get into a group and inquire, hey, is anybody from Iowa here, or whatever, I would like to go thrifting with somebody. Like, just get out there. Like, you don't have to control the situation, but you have to put yourself in the situation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, how many times have we've done many meetups locally, like satellite meetups, big meetups, and they're terrifying. Like, to organize some of that stuff is terrifying, but we still get through it, and we somehow manage to over deliver and have a good time, and people really like it. But yeah, don't get it confused. Like, we were scared. Like, we're always like, we're planned and well planned, but we're still like, holy crap! Like, if this doesn't go right, like, the business is on the line essentially. But same with you guys. Like, if you feel like your business could stand to like grow, and you feel like, man, maybe my business is on the line, like, then start talking to people, network, and get into other Facebook groups and figure out, what closely aligns with your personality, and just get in that group and get active every single day. Ask questions, very, very important.
Super important. Strategy number 8 is determining your business model, becoming an expert, niching down, however you guys want to say it, to find the hidden profits in particular items, or to cast your wide net. What are your thoughts? Should somebody niche down if they want to scale, or should they cast their net wide? I kind of wrote this in a weird way, so I didn't mean to confuse you guys, but you've got to make this decision when you're looking to scale your business. Am I gonna go deep, right, into a specific item, like retail arbitrage, like I'm just gonna go deep into it in one item, or am I gonna go wide and mess with like 100, 200 different types of products and stuff? Like, if you wanted to scale your business, Eric, from whatever you're doing per month now, if you wanted to 5x it, what would you do? Would you spread your net wide, or would you go deep on an item? What are your thoughts on that?
I've wrestled with this also. If you feel like you don't have a niche, then maybe casting a medium-sized net to find something that you enjoy. You could do that, and I've done that before. I've widened my net and I flipped. I understand now that I don't like doing all clothing. I like doing vintage clothing, but it took me casting the all clothing net to find that I like the vintage sportswear the best, because it's like, that stuff's cool or whatever. But the button front Brooks Brothers, I'm not about it. I'm not gonna get it. If it's a Robert Graham, okay, that's still kind of flamboyant and cool, but I casted that wider net maybe for a couple months, and then I figured out what I want and what I like, and I kind of niched down. And now I'm even focusing even more on video game, or not just video games, but like electronics FBA. Like, I've been going hardcore VCR, DVD recorders, VCR combos the last couple of months, and cameras. And I feel like I will be able to scale that more, just because I'll know the product so well.
Yeah.
Chris, what about you?
I like to say, people out there that are watching the show, beginners, like, start with something that you know really, really well. And then find, maybe some YouTubers that you align with, and listen to their content and see what they're buying. Especially when they say like, okay, I'm going to put this on eBay. They sell all the time, blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, pay attention to that, but don't just go buy it if you see it. Do some research behind the scenes and make sure, okay, like, that you understand a lot of things about the items. There's nothing worse than buying something that someone else told you to buy, and then you have no idea what to do with it when you get it home, right? And it ends up in a death pile, and you're like all pissed off, right?
And then you resent that YouTuber. That's not fun at all.
Yeah. So like, find a YouTuber that you like, or there's so many good ones out there, like especially me. But I know I had to put it in there, but anyways, like, find someone that you like, that you really align with, and see if you can understand their business and like how it runs, and then make it your own. Like, and I'm kind of like with Eric. I think a medium net, casting a medium net. I try to cast a pretty wide net, actually, really, really wide. Make some of those mistakes, and then I like being in a medium net right now, and that's fun, because when you have a medium net of like knowledge, man, wherever you go, you're gonna find usually something. So. Case in point today, like, I was just like, all right, I was done working out, and I'm like, I can just go to a Savers real quick, see what happens. I go to a Savers, and probably gonna walk out with like 100+ worth of just really low, how do I say it, low ranked, amazing stuff. Like, that's just easy to test, and like, just really easy stuff. And I can show it to you on this if we have time. But when you have a medium net, that's what happens. When you surround yourself with good people that share, your net starts becoming medium and large quickly. Like, it's you, as much as you want to niche down, you start understanding what some of these more prominent people start telling, and you're starting to realize, like, okay, like, this person's really into Legos, like the Jonathan Cleater guy that you he's literally like playing Legos like gold, right? He's got like hordes and massive amounts of storage of this stuff.
Green room.
Yeah, but that's like the truth. I actually thought about getting into some Lego stuff today, like dropping about a 2K on some, but I didn't do it. But anyways, but that was going on through my head. I was like, this is an investment, like a 2-year play kind of thing, you know, like put it in the attic and see what happens. But yeah, just don't cast a medium. I think a medium net's pretty good. Don't go too big. That's so important.
Let's get into the last strategy, and then we're gonna show off. We each have an item. I believe we each have an item, right? Chris, do you have an item?
Yeah, I have one right here.
All right, we're gonna blast through this last strategy, and then we're gonna each share with you a kind of a cool item that we found recently. So yeah, if you guys are enjoying this show, be sure to show some support and hit the like button. Also, don't be shy. I know there's 123 people watching live. Like, say hello. Let us know where you're from in the country right now, or maybe you're from out of country. But say hello. Let us know you're there. We like to see who's hanging out and get to know you. But the last strategy is putting systems in place to leverage your time. I mean, there's no way around it. We all have 24 hours in a day. If you want to make more money, you've got to put systems, processes, and different things in line to save time into almost what's the word I'm looking for? Make like 2 of you, make 3 of you. Like, there's different things that you can do to like multiply your efforts. So like, for example, one it's not really a system or a process, but one thing you can do to leverage your time is just to make sure that you're organized. Right, that your work area is organized, because say you can't find something that could cost you 15 or 20 minutes. Having a clean environment, having templates. What are some other ideas, guys, to be able to leverage your time? I mean,
I know Chris is big of this, and I'm actually getting pretty big on it now, is having a route like post office, thrift, gym. Like, it's all there. So it's like your system of where you go, and you're kind of like making use of that time you're already out and about of the house. So
that's
you're
a
like
pretty big one, actually. Yeah, now that you say it.
Yeah, you're like cramming all that drive time down in. Like, think if you had to leave the house and drive to like these 3 different places instead of just like the loop.
Yeah, some people have it really easy. Like, I would like to say, like, I have a very unfair setup. Like, all my stuff's within like 3 miles of my
and
house.
Your post office lets you drive to the back and just dump it off.
That is cool.
I asked mine, and they looked at me like I was an idiot. I was like, can I drive to the back like the T-Rex shirt guy in Austin and do it? And they're like, no, you can't.
Yeah, I have one step further than that now. Like, I actually know the postal guy in my neighborhood, all of them, and all I got to go is go down the street between 2 and 3 o'clock during the day, and I'm guaranteed to find one of their trucks. And I'll just give it all to them. I don't even go to the post office that much anymore. Anyway, so. But yeah, for some people that are a little bit more rural, right? And they're like, all right, I got to go to the post office today, and I got to get this out. Then I have to go home, make my FBA shipment, then go to UPS. Look, like, figure out when you're out there and then drop all that stuff at that point is what Eric is saying. If you're going to make the drive, like, you may as well knock out everything on the drive. Even if there's sourcing on the drive, do it all, when you're out there.
Take the time now to save time later. Think about all the processes in your business, from sourcing to listing to finding your inventory, right, to shipping. Have all your shipping stuff organized, have it all marked, have it all ready in one place. You don't want to go running into the garage and into the attic and in the basement trying to find the right size box. When you sell an item, make sure to create an inventory system, whether it's a bin system or you have another system where maybe it's on like the clothing hangers. You've got to start taking a little extra time when you're first getting started to put the systems in place, to get organized. I know Chris has a system of his own where don't you package up all your eBay items so they're kind of ready to go?
They're all done. Yeah.
Has the box wall ever fallen down?
Actually, the funny thing is, I'll tell you the funniest story ever. Here it is.
Down and everything broke.
I'll tell you what it is. Last Monday, I think. Yeah, last Monday.
You gotta start the story out.
All right, okay. Once upon a time, last Monday, there was a grand box wall in Bonafide's garage, and Bonafide's fairy little princess wife was leaving for work early in the morning. So I kissed her goodbye, and she left, and I heard her back the SUV out of the driveway while I was there trying to fish out one of the boxes from the wall. But lo and behold, one box has sometimes 4 boxes on top. I pull the one box out, and some of the wall proceeds to come avalanching down on my face. And then one of the boxes that's a little bit heavier actually grazes me perfectly on the neck, to where I start thinking, holy crap, like, this could look like a hickey. It could look like a hickey. It could be a really bad scene.
Killed by the box wall.
Yeah, so I got nailed by the box wall. I was like, I better call I texted my wife immediately. I was like, oh my God, the box wall fell on me. And then later I admitted to her, I was like, I only texted you because if this thing was to get like really nasty looking, I didn't want you to think it was like a hickey or something weird. Like, so anyways, but that was it. So, and then we all lived happily ever after. All right. So that's the story.
Once upon a time, I had two friends that weren't complete weirdos.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the 9 strategies to scaling a successful business. There's probably 900 more. There's so many different strategies, but
let's show the item.
Eric, are you?
I don't.
All right, CP, why don't you introduce the next part of this show? Actually, the closing part of the show, which is
whose item's the best.
And the people, okay, and the people in the feed get to vote, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you have to vote on how they explained it, and just the general, like, okay, that's pretty good, like, find. All right.
Sure.
All right, Eric, you're first.
Once upon a time, earlier today, I went into a Goodwill. I bought a tennis racket, and then I looked back at the new clothing rack that I didn't look at earlier, and I saw a green satin part of a jacket. I ran over there quickly, and I turned it around, and it had a huge Boston Celtics logo on the back.
Dude.
And the other side had a little Boston Celtics guy on the front. And the tag on the inside said "Made in the USA." Unfortunately, my heart sank a little when it didn't say starter, but I'll deal with locker line, and it was only $5.99. No, $4.99.
It's pretty good, man. Nice flip. I mean, nice future flip.
Yeah.
Okay. Mine's not gonna be this good, but I went to a Savers right after the gym today. Once upon a time, I went to a Savers right after the gym today, and you know, I went to the video game section at some point, and I started realizing, like, wait a minute, there are a lot more GameCube. That's one of the best things about GameCube games is when you like find them, they all say GameCube on the bottom, right? But when I go to most Savers and stuff, it might be lucky to find one. Well, I go to the Savers today, and there were like 8. And I'm like, damn, there's 8, you know, GameCube games. There's got to be a good one in there somewhere. So one of them was this one right here. This is Zelda 4 Swords Adventures. That was pretty good. You know, it's a pretty solid find. I forget what this one's paying off, but this one was interesting. Like this one, I don't think most people would have just scanned it, but I did. And this is going to pay about $32. This rank right here it's 12,700 in video, 12,700 in video games, but it's like totally complete. It has everything, unscratched. Case, I mean, it's like perfect. Like this, and this one's actually better ranked than everything, but I think it's selling. Eric, help me with this one real quick. What does this usually go for? Zelda 4 Swords Adventures GameCube.
I'm on Amazon right now.
Okay, well, you can look it up. Insert and everything. So it doesn't matter where it is. I would tier up to where, you know, because I've got the actual GameCube embossed case, the disc itself, the insert, the graphic on the back and front. So that's pretty solid. It's complete.
Nice.
It's a complete game. Anyway, the jacket does beat the video game thing. I know, like,
You're already submitting. There's one ranked at 7,000 for that one, and it'll go above $20, $25, $30 maybe.
Yeah. So that was just 2 of the things that I found today. But anyway.
Once upon a time. We should have a whole show that's just called Once Upon a Time. We just cherish his stories. But once upon a time, I went to the hood, the ghetto, where there is a pawn shop called Yankee Pawn and Peddler, I believe it's called, something like that. Went over to this pawn shop where I've built relationships there for years, and they all know me. They all hook me up with deals. And I walked in, and I was looking in the electronic case where there's usually calculators. I'm looking for cameras, camera lenses, all different types of things, surveillance, it's all types of stuff. And I saw this little box sitting there, and
oh man!
Once upon a time, I met this guy named Filipino guy named Chris, the Bonafide Hustler, and he had a vlogging camera that he was vlogging with when vlogging cameras that were Canon PowerShot ELPH 110s were actually popular. And he told me, Steve, that is one of the most rarest models. He was so proud of his camera that it, you know, every time I went out, I went looking for it. And here we have a PowerShot. This is a point and shoot Canon PowerShot ELPH 110. This has a 16.1 megapixel. This is very popular with vloggers. Well, a couple years ago, and you want to make sure that it comes with everything. You want to test it out, make sure the lens isn't all scratched up. You want to make sure there's a battery. You're going to want to make sure that it comes with a charger and everything like that. But this, once upon a time, I paid $50 cash for this at the pawn shop, no tax. And it's selling for $140 and change right now on Amazon. It's got like a 4.5 star rating and 5,000 rank, which is a phenomenal rank in cameras. So these used to sell for a lot more, believe it or not. What did they used to sell for like a year and a half ago?
300.
Used?
I've never gotten 300 for them, but I bought like 50 of them from Canon when they went on sale, and they were selling for me at 160, maybe 190 at one point.
Okay, I took it back. 300 is the new price now, if you can find them new, but no one does.
Yeah,
so yeah, 125.
I bought them refurb, okay. So it was a
5,000 Raiken camera. Pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So that's my find right there. Should probably net about. Actually, the fees aren't too high, so probably about $60 profit.
All right, guys, who won that battle right there? Was it Raiken, was it me, or was it Eric? We'll stick around just to see who wins.
Camera, jacket, or what did you get, a game?
Yeah, we'll give you a 1-month free trial to the green room. Whoever wins here on the admin staff of the green room. Yeah, the prize today is going to be given back to us. Jacket.
I'm like trying to follow what you're talking about. I'm like, did he just say what I thought he said?
Jacket, camera, games.
Ooh, jacket wins all the way through.
I see one camera. Yeah, the jacket definitely.
The jacket destroyed.
Sprinkled in, but I see 3 cameras, but I've probably seen about 7 or 8. I think the jacket's gonna win with popular demand.
Yep.
Congratulations, Eric! You now are in the green room for 1 month. Free trial.
I'd give anything. If you hear a huge rip on camera, I'd be like, "Oh my god!"
That would be hilarious. But that's about it for the show. It's 8:58, so I want to thank everybody for coming on and watching the show. If you did enjoy this video, like, comment, and subscribe. We do have a free guide down below, which is called, let me pan over to Chris.
I have it right here. It's 100 amazing items to resell. It's the first link.
And what is inside that guide? Talk to him about that.
I like to think that the stuff that's in this guide is very bread and butter stuff. Even though we created it 2 years ago, the bread and the butter is basically, you can look at it like you make 60% of the money, in a month or a year from bread and butter type items that you can flip nonstop and find nonstop. So you got to check out this guide. It is the first link down below. It's called 100 Amazing Items to Resell. It's a PDF. It'll get right to your phone literally within 1 minute. So it is free. Go check it out. At one point, we were charging $40 for this guide. I'm not even kidding. So go check it out. It is good stuff. I am going to do some shows where I go over 10 at a time from the things that are in this guide and just share my thoughts.
I was going to do the same thing, but I was going to do 25.
But you didn't do it. So now I'm going to do it. So anyway.
Now that you publicly dispose. Well, our brains are different, so that the content will be different.
I future flossed my ideas, and I'm going to take care of it. I'm going to floss them later. I'm going to take care of it.
Dude, so whoever releases it first gets it.
Okay.
Quite the interesting show today. Once upon a time, we had an awesome show. So if you guys enjoyed this, like it, comment on it, subscribe. I want to shout out these guys' YouTube channels. I want to shout it out. Bonafide Hustler, right? YouTube, Bonafide Hustler. Also Instagram, Boddam. He's got some cool stuff over there with fitness and whatnot as well. And Eric is referred to as the College Picker on YouTube. And he's had some pretty cool things going on in his YouTube channel. Finance tips, paying off debt, investing money into a cash-sucking Kia, and all different types of content. So definitely check out the College Picker. But we appreciate you guys. Thanks for all the love. Thanks for all the great comments and the positive support and everything. And we'll see you guys next week on the Bonafide Hustlers YouTube channel. So with that being said, peace out. Appreciate you guys and catch you next time. Bye.